I'm entering what appears to be an excavation site.
You are correct. It's the only remaining route to the biomass containment area. We should be able to find our sample there.
Acknowledged.
Is this containment area where the outbreak started?
Most likely. I'll continue parsing logs to see if I can determine what happened.
I'm sure that's not necessary.
Do it. I need to know.
Of course, Doctor.
I assume these barriers were set up while construction was taking place?
Correct. Data files show a series of tunnels extending beyond the barriers.
The scale of these excavations seems to far exceed our mining efforts back on the Kronos 2.
Absolutely. Though, this excavation was done to leverage the asteroid's bulk as a protective layer against the biomass. Any valuable mineral extractions were merely a byproduct.
Does most of humanity have to live like this? Underground, so to speak?
For several generations now.
I'm sorry.
I'm detecting a tick up ahead.
Would my cloak emitter be effective?
I believe so. And the device's range should allow you to cloak the tick before it detects you.
Cloaking successful.
All this advanced tech, and the biomass still broke containment.
Yes. This is why eliminating the biomass is our only option.
Were these excavators being used to expand the containment area?
I can't be certain, but given the advancements made in insulation cloaking technology, I imagine they would have been trying to ramp up testing or possibly even production. Undoubtedly, that would have required taking in more samples than the facility was currently equipped to contain.
Could that be what caused the accident?
Possibly. If the research team was indeed rushing to complete work on the cloaking tech, then it is possible certain containment systems were overtaxed.
I should have been here.
Then you'd be dead too. And so would we, probably.
I'm approaching a large opening. There is a conveyance system installed overhead.
That is how newly arriving containment units were transferred into main storage. Local telemetry indicates a significant biomass presence throughout the area. Containment certainly failed here.
Acknowledged. I will proceed with caution.
There is a wealth of data here. Much of it will be useful for our work on developing a cure. Good find. Data retrieved. I believe the synthetic using this shell was indeed present for the initial containment failure. I'll play the log.
Director Park.
Yes, Unit.
A Caliber 4 containment breach is in progress.
What?
Origin uncertain. Multiple ticks are unrestrained in the conveyance shaft. I am beginning to lock down.
Have any personnel had direct contact?
Several. I sacrificed my shell to prevent immediate fatality. I'm in the process of reprinting with a portable plug emitter.
Alright, I'll triage the infected in the med labs.
Your SIG telemetry indicates you're not wearing a helmet. To avoid dying,
I'll find one. Just prioritize personal evacuation, then lock down the entire containment area. Especially main storage.
acknowledged. Doctor,
Nora, why did you?
She did her best. She tried to... No, she did help everyone. I'm sure that without her...
It doesn't matter. Without a cure, none of it matters.
Well, then... we know what we have to do.
Agreed.
This container must have lost power at some point. Unfortunately, it appears its contents have escaped. How certain are we that a functional container is still here?
Based on the logs, one stock container arrived shortly before the lockdown.
Hopefully, it remains intact. cloaked one of the sensors on this web, but it's not having the same effect as before.
One of? How many sensors does this web have?
At least 4.
Then this web must have been cultivating here for some time. It's possible this is where the outbreak originated.
Unfortunately, Jack, your cloak emitter cannot sustain enough insulation fields to blind all of those sensors.
There must be something else we can do.
Agreed. I'll find a way to retract the web. There is an electrical transformer here. Its power field appears to be keeping all nearby biomass active.
Any chance there's a bypass hooked up to it?
Effectively? No. That subsystem has been consumed by the biomass.
Lovely.
This large door, does it lead to the main storage area the director ordered to be locked down?
Correct. Unfortunately, any biomass samples in there won't be reachable. If they're even still contained, that is.
If you can't cloak the sensors, cloak the power source.
Oh, nicely done, Jack.
That was unexpected. I'll need just a moment to further analyze the reconstructed targeting software. Ah, I see it now. The cloak emitter should be able to target power sources as well, as long as they're sufficiently compact.
Copy that. Proceeding through the web now. Is this the cargo bay?
Yes, and our containment unit is indeed intact.
I'm still prepping the intake system. Should be ready by the time the container gets here, though. I'm assuming we have what we need.
Readings show a full complement of ticks within. So, yes, Captain, we have what we need.
Is the unit safe to approach?
Yes, the container is fully powered and the insulation fields are active. Those ticks are pacified. I'll send a cargo drone to retrieve it as soon as the bay door is opened.
On it. A way to release the container?
That is correct.
Good eye, Jack. But best wait on that. I don't want our one and only container floating around bumping into things. Let's just focus on opening the bay door for now.
Copy that. Does this crane meet the size requirements for the cloak emitter?
Unlikely. However, I suspect it is more useful without insulation anyway.
A power transformer. Much of the nearby biomass is feeding on it.
Cargo drone is ready. Please locate a control console to open the door.
Are these the controls for the bay door?
Correct.
Exterior bay door opened.
Copy that. We'll send over a cargo drone to retrieve the container. Shouldn't take too long.
Jack, we'll just need you to manually release the container once the drone has secured it.
Acknowledged. I'll head to the cargo bay. From this side, the web sensor is inaccessible. I won't be leaving that way.
Yes, that is unfortunate. However, schematics do show a maintenance duct nearby.
I'll see what I can find.
Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. This specimen appears somewhat different than the others I've previously encountered. It has tentacles.
Yes, I believe that particular adaptation manifested somewhat recently. The biomass has been evolving continuously since your time. Regardless, you'll want to keep your distance, if possible. There's a fair bit of data here. It should prove useful in our efforts to develop a cure. Good find, Jack. This is the administration area. Once past the next hallway, Jack, You'll be back in the cargo bay.
These controls are offline. Can this door be bypassed?
I'm afraid not. However, as a precaution, this area runs on a localized power grid. If you can find a way to restore that grid, the door should become operable.
A battery, probably for maintaining the local power grid. Unfortunately, this battery lacks power. There must be a recharge socket nearby. This web must be sensing the battery's power field.
Indeed. Any substantial power field will awaken all forms of biomass from dormancy.
Now that this battery has a charge, it is emitting a power field.
better, are we, Jack?
I'm still adapting to its functionality. The device's wide range of uses requires additional consideration.
It's brought us that much closer to a cure. For that alone, we should be grateful.
In this corridor, a further casualty of the biomass. 2, in fact.
Dr. Stephen Garrick and Senior Technician Avery Park.
Seems they were left behind in the evacuation.
I doubt that. If they're here, it's probably because they chose to stay.
What do you mean?
I knew these people. Every researcher here understood what an outbreak would mean. That they would have to do whatever was necessary to try and protect the rest of the station.
Jack, the cargo drone will be unable to retrieve the container until it's released from the loading pallet. There should be a release mechanism near the container.
Container released.
Confirmed. Container primed for departure.
It will need to be hooked up once it gets here, Jack. Care to give it a final touch?
I believe I would, yes. I doubt the procedure will take long.
Okay then. See you in a few.
Container departing in T-minus 10 seconds.
Better grab on or stay clear, Jack.
Jack, if you're planning on accompanying the container, now would be a good time to take hold. Cargo drone is departing in 3, 2, 1. Igniting thrusters. Jack, I hope you don't mind. I've switched us to another comms channel for a moment. I have a somewhat personal question to ask you. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Juno.
Captain Rhodes, she considers you a friend, yes?
I think so, yes.
You think so?
Human social cues are often difficult to interpret, but I am nevertheless confident that the captain and I are indeed friends.
Then, how did you reach that conclusion?
In the time I have known Captain Rhodes, she has consistently demonstrated behaviors that suggest she values my company, trusts my insights, and harbors a great concern for my overall well-being.
I see.
Why do you ask?
I'm trying to discern if Dr. Harlan considers me a friend. Biometrics indicate he is still experiencing some distress, but I'm unsure if it would be appropriate for me to console him. What is your assessment?
I find Dr. Harlan difficult to fully understand. His personality differs significantly from that of Captain Rhodes. He may express his regard in a different fashion.
He does refer to me by name, a behavior he does not extend to you. Perhaps that is a positive indicator.
Perhaps.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate your insight. Wait, did we just become friends?
I suppose we did.
Splendid. I'll return comms to the public channel now. Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Looking good, Cowboy Jack. Steady as she goes. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Juno, what is the state of Titan?
How do you mean? The weather?
No, Juno. He's asking if anyone's still living there. Our old supervisor was stationed on that moon.
Given the passage of time, I am certain that your boss has long since expired.
Yes, obviously. You know how ages work. But is there still a colony? Has it been My father helped start that process.
Biomass container in place and ready to be secured.
Go ahead, Jack.
Liv, are you feeling well? Given your infection, I wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Jack. Honestly, I feel fine physically.
And mentally.
Fine there too, Dr. Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The state of this future is not great. But we've got a plan to fix it. And I've got work to keep me busy. Soldiering on, you know?
Indeed. You'll let me know if your condition changes.
Of course.
These containment units are quite effective. The ticks appear well pacified. How will we safely transfer them into the ship?
We've modified an intake unit to flush them directly into the engineering bay. It should be much safer than attempting a controlled breakout.
Slight deviation from the original accident. But for the added safety, worth it.
Biomass containers secured in place.
Copy that. All right, next up is a fuel cell. Dr. Harlan says the Estrella should have what we're looking for.
Correct. Though I'm doubtful it will be easy to extract.
I'm sure we'll figure something out. Jack, just let us know when you're close.
Will do.
Yes, Jack?
These units were used to refuel ships?
Yeah, input only now, though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed. Approaching the Estrella now.
Finally, if any fuel cells are still intact, they'd probably be deeper within the wreckage. Unfortunately, everything beyond the bridge is steeped in radiation, and the ship's AI is just making matters worse.
The ship's AI? Do you mean Apollo?
Are you familiar?
Apollo was the ship's tactical AI. He was instrumental in helping us survive our first encounter with the biomass.
I just hope he's still online.
Considering my difficulties exploring here, he must be.
Then if we can make contact with Apollo, he can probably help us find the fuel cell we need.
Guess it's time to say hello to our old friend.
Roger that. Heading to the bridge. Earth still appears blue from this distance. The blight of the biomass is nowhere in evidence.
You think we'll ever be able to go back? Not just me, but humanity.
Earth's biosphere has endured multiple extinction-level events, even before the onset of humanity. The odds of it weathering this latest cataclysm are more than favorable.
Yeah. She'll be alright.
All this scaffolding. Dr. Harlan, were you attempting to repair the bridge?
I was stabilizing it so I could investigate. It would have become a salvage operation had the ship's AI not shut down all my equipment. With my equipment offline, the radiation there has made it impossible to work.
Not to worry, Dr. Harlan. Apollo will listen to us.
A downed cargo drone. Some of your equipment, Dr. Harlan.
Correct. Incapacitated by the ship's AI, best I can tell.
Why would Apollo do that?
He did mention serving as a tactical AI. It's possible Apollo has activated some security measures around his ship.
Isn't that perfect?
Well, I'm sure you can convince him to help us out, Jack. We did before.
Power feeding from Chiron Station.
A way to keep the bridge online, so Dr. Harlan could investigate.
Wait, you're powering the bridge? Don't you think that could have...
Yes, Captain Rhodes. It seems in doing so that I inadvertently prompted the ship's AI to destroy my equipment. Juno was handling the cargo drone's navigation out there, so I assumed I could safely investigate the bridge. I didn't want to lose an opportunity to learn more. But perhaps this outcome was inevitable.
A bypass for the door controls, locked behind a keypad.
It was the only way I could gain access. The code is 2126.
I've gained access to the bridge.
I assume you have some type of plan.
Apollo's AI core would be an appropriate place to start. It was vital to his operation here.
Good point, Jack. If it's still intact, could be all we need to strike up a conversation.
You two are rather confident.
Apollo commissioned us as official crew members last time we met.
And we did part on good terms. I'm sure he'll do what he can to help.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
A casualty from Dr. Harlan's previous investigation.
It was just another shell lying around the station. We were trying to put it to good use.
I thought I could pilot it well enough, but apparently limb control is not my forte.
I'm expecting you'll fare better, Echo One. If this Apollo is indeed the ally you say he is.
An electrode for the defibrillator.
If you hadn't found that defib unit when you did, I wouldn't be here.
Your safety is my primary concern. I will do everything in my power to prevent you from coming to harm.
I see. So that's why you're so keen on all this time travel nonsense?
Precisely. If your infection is indeed life-threatening, I am compelled to do whatever is necessary to help you find a cure.
If the two of you are finished,
Right. Let's get back to it.
These induction panels were essential to my survival on the Estrella. However, they no longer appear to be in an operable state, much like the rest of the ship. We once used this interface to grant Apollo control of the bridge systems. It could still work. The main access point for the bridge systems. With Apollo's AI core plugged in here, we might have a chance of establishing contact.
Jack, I think Apollo's AI core was seated at the front, right? Go ahead and plug it in when you're ready.
Apollo's AI core.
Oh, still intact?
Reasonably so, it seems. I'll just need to plug it into the mainframe access slot to be sure.
access is restricted to crew members only.
Wait, what?
Initializing threat suppression protocol.
Apollo, search your memory for my identifier, Echo 1.
User not found.
Try Jack.
Memory query. Successful. User entry found. Jack. Welcome back to the Estrella. It is good to see you.
Thank you, Apollo. It is good to see you as well.
Is Captain Rhodes with you? And well, I hope.
Cheers, Apollo. We missed you.
Likewise, Captain. Jack, your appearance is altered. I almost did not recognize you. I must apologize for the alarms.
Your reasoning was sound.
What brings you back to the Estrella?
We need an FTL fuel cell, Apollo. But we believe you've been disabling Dr. Harlan's salvaging equipment. We'll need it back online to deal with the radiation here.
Preserving this vessel is my primary directive. The last time jump virtually destroyed it. No further attempts to remove or misuse equipment can be permitted.
Lives depend on it, Apollo.
I understand, Captain, but I cannot allow any further material from this vessel to be compromised.
Apollo, Liv is infected with the biomass, and your directive is protecting this ship's crew and its critical assets.
Forgive me, Jack. I failed to follow your reasoning.
You yourself commissioned Liv, a fellow Atlas employee, as acting captain after the deaths of your original crew. You must remember.
Confirmed, though I had not considered her status in such terms. Captain Rhodes is truly infected.
She needs your help.
Very well. As the Estrella's tactical adjunct, my primary directive is to protect its crew.
So you will help then?
Affirmative. I am hereby available to assist you in obtaining a fuel cell.
Lovely. That's settled.
Apollo, are you able to detect any fuel cells that are still operational?
My sensor network has been severely damaged. However, any functional fuel cells on the Estrella would be in the auxiliary drive bay. It can be seen through the window far ahead of the bridge.
It seems easy enough to reach.
And it would be if this AI hadn't disabled the equipment I set up to counter the radiation.
A temporary security measure. Your equipment is now re-enabled.
You better not have damaged any of it.
Normal operations should resume now. Jack can verify this.
Oh dear. Incoming.
What the hell is that?
A cargo drone. Apparently no longer capable of flight.
Apologies. My anti-theft protocols are quite aggressive.
Fortunately, our salvaging equipment appears to still have working radiation dampeners, meaning Jack should now have a safe route to the drive bay.
That's some good news.
A number of problems remain. Accessing the fuel cells, for one. Doing so will require that I have direct control of the systems within the drive bay. You must bring me along with you.
Are you seriously going to integrate with this rogue AI?
Without Apollo, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We can trust him.
Jack, I'll walk you through the process of downloading my imprint to your cortex.
I'm ready, Apollo.
Simply insert my AI core into the lower receptacle, then use your data link on the override slot. I will do the rest. Disconnecting from mainframe now. Download complete. Only one final issue remains, Jack. Your arms are too short.
Too short?
The FTL technology is highly sensitive. Accessing the drive bay and the fuel cells within will require multiple operators.
Good thing there's two of us then.
Unfortunately, the debris field is far too irradiated to accommodate Captain Rhodes.
You're saying Jack's the best chance we've got, but even he won't be enough.
I might be able to help, actually. The cargo drones employ stasis technology, which enables them to manipulate objects at a distance.
Like the stasis projectors we used to levitate the tram back in the hab.
Exactly. I believe I could incorporate the drone stasis deck into your shell, Jack. I'll just need more data from them to be sure.
The drone that just hit the bridge is unlikely to put up much resistance. I'll start there.
Whenever you're ready, Jack.
I'm heading out. Unfortunately, this drone is in no condition to be scanned. I'll try finding another.
Jack, to stay protected from radiation out there, you'll need to activate radiation dampeners with your data link. They can be found on both charging docks and cargo drones.
Is there any possibility of recovering this drone?
I'm not sure. Its guidance module is clearly offline, but some of its other systems might still be intact. Scanning its data port will allow us to evaluate.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grip across space, so I suppose...
It's a grip projector. Let's move on.
More data will be needed.
There'll be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to look for.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampeners as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.